I didn't fall in love with him suddenly. It happened slowly, quietly, so quietly that I didn't even notice when it became serious. He felt safe, not exciting, not dramatic, just familiar. And at that time in my life, familiar felt like everything I needed. We met when my days were ordinary: work, home, repeat. He listened when I talked. He remembered small details. He showed up. That felt like love. People always talk about red flags, but no one tells you how quiet they are. The first time he lied to me, it didn't feel like betrayal. It felt small. He said he was working late. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? When he came home that night, he smelled different. Not bad, just unfamiliar. I noticed it, and then I ignored it. I told myself I was overthinking. I always overthink. I wanted to be the kind of woman who trusted. Weeks passed, then months. We built routines, grocery shopping on Sundays, watching the same shows at night, falling asleep apart, but waking up closer. I paid more bills than he did, but I told myself we were a team. He was getting back on his feet. Love, I thought, was about patience. The lies didn't start big. They never do. A missed call, a delayed reply, a story that didn't fully make sense, but close enough. Each time, I chose peace over questions. My friends noticed. They asked gentle questions. Does he always come home that late? Why does he protect his phone so much? I defended him immediately. He's just stressed. He wouldn't do that. You don't know him as I do. I wanted to be right. One night, I stayed awake waiting for him. Not because I was suspicious, but because I missed him. Hours passed. When he finally walked in, he looked surprised to see me awake. That should have mattered more than it did. He told me a story. I nodded. I didn't interrupt. But something shifted inside me. Not loudly, just enough to notice. That was the night I stopped sleeping deeply. I started paying attention. The way he placed his phone face down. The way his voice changed when certain names came up. The way work became his answer to everything. I hated myself for noticing. I didn't want to be that woman, the suspicious one, the insecure one. So I stayed quiet. I thought trust meant silence. I didn't realize yet that silence was teaching him something too. That I would stay. The first lie didn't break us. What broke us was everything I did after it. I stayed. I adjusted. I made excuses. I thought staying made me strong. I didn't know then that love can fail quietly, long before it falls apart completely. That understanding came later, on a night that changed everything. But at the time, all I knew was this. I stayed after the first lie, and that decision would cost me more than I was ready to admit. After that night, something changed. Not in him, in me. I started listening differently, watching more closely. I noticed the pauses before his answers, how he repeated my questions, like he needed time to decide what to say. I told myself it meant nothing, but my body didn't believe that anymore. He became harder to reach. Calls went unanswered. Texts came hours later. Busy. Long day. Can't talk right now. I stopped asking follow-up questions. I didn't want to sound needy. I didn't want to give him a reason to pull away. So I waited. I waited for him to come back to us. At night, he sat beside me, scrolling through his phone, smiling at things he never shared. When I asked what was funny, he shrugged. Just stuff. I smiled back. But inside, I felt invisible. I replayed old moments in my head. Things I'd ignored before started to feel heavier. The late nights, the sudden interest in his appearance. The new cologne, he said, was a gift. I wondered when curiosity turned into fear. One evening, he said he was going out with coworkers. He didn't invite me. He didn't explain. He just grabbed his keys and kissed my forehead like everything was fine. I watched him leave from the window. That was new. When he came back late, he was in a good mood. Too good. He talked more than usual. His stories sounded rehearsed. When he went to shower, he took his phone with him. I stared at the closed bathroom door, longer than I wanted to admit. The next day, I did something I promised myself I'd never do. I checked the phone bill. Not messages, not social media, just numbers. The same number, over and over, late at night. My hands shook as I wrote it down. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I just felt tired. That was when I realized something painful. The betrayal wasn't just happening to me. I was helping it happen by choosing not to see. That night, lying beside him, I felt like a guest in my own relationship. Careful, quiet, trying not to break anything. He fell asleep easily. I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. I wasn't ready for the truth yet, but I was done pretending everything was fine. Love wasn't failing loudly. It was slipping away quietly and taking my peace with it. I didn't go looking for the truth. That's the part that still hurts the most. It found me. It was an ordinary day. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. Work ended early, and I thought I'd surprise him. Cook dinner, pretend everything was normal for one more night. His car was already in the driveway. That should have made me happy. Instead, my stomach dropped. The apartment was quiet when I walked in. Too quiet. His shoes were by the door. His jacket was gone. I called his name once. No answer. I told myself not to jump to conclusions. Then his phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. He never left his phone behind. I froze. I wasn't planning to touch it. I swear I wasn't. But the screen lit up again. A name I didn't recognize. And a message preview I couldn't unread. I miss last night already. That was it. No photos, no explanations, just one sentence. That changed everything. My hands started shaking, so badly I had to sit down. I kept reading it over and over, hoping I misunderstood. But there was nothing to misunderstand. I didn't open the phone. I didn't scroll. I didn't need more proof. The truth had already settled in my chest. When he came home later, he acted normally. Too normal. He asked about my day. He smiled. He kissed my cheek, like he hadn't just broken something inside me. I watched him carefully, like I was seeing him for the first time. The confidence, the ease, the way lying had become natural. At dinner, he told me he loved me. I nodded. I didn't say it back. That night, he fell asleep quickly. I lay beside him, staring at his back. I wonder how someone could sleep so peacefully after hurting another person so quietly. That was when it hit me. The pain wasn't only about the other woman. It was about how easily honesty had been replaced by convenience. I thought about every excuse I'd made for him, every time I'd ignored my instincts. I wasn't angry yet. I was grieving. Not the relationship we had, but the one I thought we were building. The truth didn't arrive like a storm. It came softly, and still managed to destroy everything. I didn't confront him right away. I needed time to sit with the truth, without his voice explaining it away. The next morning, he acted normally. Too normal. He made coffee, asked if I slept well, kissed my forehead like nothing had changed. I watched him carefully, not with anger, with clarity. Later that evening, I asked him to sit with me. He looked confused, but he sat down, relaxed, like there was nothing to worry about. I didn't accuse him. I didn't raise my voice. I asked one simple question. Is there someone else? The silence answered before he did. He laughed softly. Why would you ask that? I held his eyes. This time, I wasn't asking for reassurance. I was asking for honesty. He sighed, rubbed his face, looked away. Nothing is happening, he said. Then he added, but that word felt like glass cracking. But what? I asked. He said it wasn't serious, that it just happened, that he never meant for it to go that far. He said he was stressed, confused, overwhelmed. He said it didn't mean anything. I listened quietly, as he explained how he betrayed me. That was when I noticed something. He was apologizing, but he wasn't taking responsibility. He said he loved me. He said he wanted to fix things. He said he didn't want to lose me, but he never said he would stop lying. I asked how long it had been going on. He hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than the answer. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. For the first time, he looked afraid. "I didn't want to hurt you," he said. And suddenly, everything became clear. He didn't want to hurt me. He just didn't want to stop. That night, I slept alone, even though he was still there. Staring at the ceiling, I understood something I couldn't ignore anymore. Love didn't fail because of one mistake. It failed because honesty had left the relationship. And without trust, love becomes something else entirely. I knew a decision was coming. I just didn't know yet how strong I would need to be to make it. I thought the decision would come suddenly, in a fight, in tears, in anger. It didn't. It came quietly. The days after the conversation felt unreal. We moved around each other carefully, like strangers sharing a space that no longer belonged to either of us. He tried to be better, kinder, more present. He made promises, deleted numbers, said all the right things. And for a moment, I almost stayed. Not because I believed him, but because leaving felt harder than enduring. I thought about the years we'd spent together, the routines, the version of myself that had grown around him. I thought about how much of my life I had already given. Walking away felt like admitting it was gone. One evening, he asked me if I could forgive him. I didn't answer right away, because forgiveness wasn't the real question. The real question was this: could I live with myself if I stayed? That night, I stood alone in the bathroom, staring at my reflection. I looked tired, smaller somehow, like I had been shrinking to make room for his choices. That's when it became clear. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't confused. I was done. The next morning, I told him I was leaving. He looked shocked, like he truly believed love meant I would stay, no matter what. "I said I was sorry," he whispered. "I know," I said, "but sorry doesn't rebuild trust." I packed quietly. Not everything, just enough to breathe again. At the door, he asked me if I thought I'd regret this. I paused. "I already regret what I tolerated," I said. "I won't regret choosing myself." I didn't slam the door when I left. That mattered to me. Leaving didn't feel empowering right away. It felt lonely, heavy, uncertain. But for the first time in a long time, I felt honest. Love had failed, but I hadn't failed myself. And that mattered more than any promise he could make now. Healing didn't happen all at once. It came in small moments. The first night alone felt unbearable. The silence was louder than any argument we ever had. I slept on the edge of the bed out of habit, then remembered there was no one else there anymore. I cried quietly. No drama, no anger, just tears. The days that followed were slow. I unpacked what I brought with me and left the rest of my life behind, emotionally and physically. Some mornings felt lighter. Other mornings, I questioned everything. I missed him sometimes. Not the man he became, but the man I believed he was. That truth hurt differently. Slowly, I stopped replaying conversations in my head. I stopped asking what I could have done differently. The pain wasn't proof that I made the wrong choice. It was proof that I loved honestly. I started doing ordinary things again. Grocery shopping, long walks, sitting in silence without checking my phone. I learned how to be alone without feeling abandoned. Friends asked how I was doing. I told them the truth. I'm okay, just rebuilding. Some nights were harder than others. Trust doesn't disappear quietly. It leaves questions behind. But over time, those questions softened. I didn't rush into anything new. I didn't need to. I was learning how to listen to myself again, how to trust my instincts without apologizing for them. One evening, weeks later, I realized I hadn't thought about him all day. That surprised me. Not because I was over him, but because I was finally present in my own life again. Love failed, but it taught me something important. Staying isn't always a strength. Leaving isn't a weakness. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. I don't know what comes next. I don't need to. For now, I'm at peace. If this story felt real, you're not alone. Subscribe for more real stories.